Hello, everyone. Tennis Insights here, and welcome to a preview of the Roland Garros 2024 edition. As I'm recording this, the first round has just ended, so apologies on the delay. But this is my first video talking about tennis. A little background about me: I've been following this sport for, I want to say, the last 12 years. And I used to play tennis, but now I'm just sort of just talking about it and analyzing the sport. So let's get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is talk about the seeds of the tournament. Just another thing is, since the first round has ended, everything that I have in this video is as if like the results are not done, like as if the draw was completely blank. We're not going to go over the draw since the first round is over, but in the future, I hope to get the draw previews done beforehand. So on the men's side, we have our top 32 seeds, with none of them getting a bye in the first round. So first off, we got Novak Djokovic as the top seed and Jannik Sinner as the second seed. They're actually both fighting for the number one spot. Carlos Alcaraz comes in with third seed. Alexander Zverev, after winning that Rome title, goes up to the fourth seed. Daniil Medvedev with the fifth seed. Andrei Rublev with the sixth seed. Casper Ruud with the seventh seed. So he's the last 2 years were in the finals, or was in the final. So we'll see if he can make it back. He's got a really tough draw though. Hubert Hurkacz with the 8th seed. Stefano Tsitsipas, former finalist, the 9th seed. Grigor Dimitrov, the 10th seed. Alex de Minaur with the 11th seed. Taylor Fritz with the 12th seed. Holger Rune with the 13th seed. Tommy Paul with the 14th seed. Ben Shelton with the 15th seed. Nicolas Jarry, the Rome finalist, with the 16th seed. Ugo Humbert with the 17th seed. Karen Khachanov with the 18th seed. Alexander Bublik with the 19th seed. Sebastian Baez with the 20th seed. Felix Auger-Aliassime with the 21st seed. Adrian Manarino with the 22nd seed. Francisco Cerundolo with the 23rd seed. Alejandro Tabillo with the 24th seed. Francis Tiafoe with the 25th seed. Talon Griekspoor with the 26th seed. Sebastian Corda with the 27th seed. Tomas Martin Echeverry, who made a run to last year's quarterfinals, the 28th seed. Arthur Fils with the 29th seed. Lorenzo Musetti with the 30th seed. Mariano Novoni, the 31st seed, which I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he was making history in the sense that being seeded for their main draw debut for the first time in history. I'm not fully sure if that's accurate, but I read that somewhere. And last but not least, Cameron Norrie being the 32nd seed. So those are the men's seeds. Let's cover the women's seeds now. Three-time champion Iga Swiatek, double defending champion as well. Top seed Iga Swiatek. Second seed Aryna Sabalenka. Third seed Coco Gauff. Fourth seed Yelena Rybakina. Fifth seed Marketa Vondrousova. Sixth seed Maria Sakkari. Seventh seed Qinwen Zheng. Eighth seed Ons Jabeur. Ninth seed and former champion Yelena Ostapenko. 10th seed Daria Kasatkina. 11th seed Danielle Collins. 12th seed Jasmine Paolini. 13th seed Beatriz Haddad Maia. 14th seed Madison Keys. 15th seed Alina Svitolina. 16th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova. 17th seed Lyudmila Samsonova. 18th seed Marta Kostyuk. 19th seed Victoria Azarenka. 20th seed and former finalist Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. 21st seed Caroline Garcia. 22nd seed Emma Navarro. 23rd seed Anna Kalinskaya. 24th seed and former champion Barbara Krejcikova. 25th seed Elise Mertens. 26th seed Katie Boulter. 27th seed Linda Noskova. 28th seed Sorana Cirstea. 29th seed Veronika Kudermetova. 30th seed Diana Yastremska. 31st seed Leylah Fernandez. And 32nd seed Katerina Siniakova. So there's a lot of names, but let's go through who I think are the favorites on the men's side first. So on the men's side, First off, the clear favorite has to be Novak Djokovic. He's a 24-time Grand Slam champion. Easily, in my personal opinion, I think in the opinions of a lot of people, the GOAT of the sport. I mean, what else can you say? He's the only thing I will say though. His 2024 season has been a bit weird in the sense that he's actually not won a title so far, which is really odd. But he's also kind of having like an off year in itself. Has lost to a lot of like lower level players like Nardi at Indian Wells. I wouldn't say Tabio at Rome was a lower level player, but it was still an upset. And just last week he lost to Tomas Mahac in Geneva, so he's definitely having an off year. We'll see. I'd still consider him a strong favorite though to win the French Open. Next up, Jannik Sinner. So I was super hesitant putting him here because he's coming in with a hip injury and was even recommended to not even participate in this tournament. But we'll see. I mean, he was training in his hometown, Monte Carlo. Not hometown, but like where he's staying. So we'll see. We'll see if he's able to perform. Personally, I don't really expect him to be able to make it super far. Last year, he lost the second round. That being said, 2024 Sinner is next level, is nowhere near the same as 2020, like him last year. But that hip injury could really just hamper up his movement. So maybe he'll make a third or fourth round appearance. But yeah, I'd still consider him as a favorite to win. Carlos Alcaraz is another player coming off of injury. He's got the elbow or arm injury that forced him to pull out of Rome, and he lost in Madrid, which was the last time he played a match. I'd say even like when he was going into Madrid, he was injured, and he was still playing a few good matches until he lost to Andrei Rublev there, who ended up winning the entire thing. I'd say based on his experience from last year, where he started cramping up, I mean, if he's injured and he starts cramping up, that's not great. I will say, though, his experience from Wimbledon would definitely have helped with the cramping. But we'll see. I mean, he's definitely a really good player, really strong, has really strong ground strokes and everything. So I wouldn't count him out, is what I'm saying. And the last one is Alexander Zverev. This might be a little bit of a shock, seeing as he's not a Grand Slam champion. The other three are all champions. I didn't want to put Medvedev because Medvedev is notoriously horrible at the French Open. He's pretty bad on clay. Yeah, he won Rome last year and then proceeded to lose in the first round at the French Open. This year, he didn't do super great at Rome, but we'll see how he does. I don't want to consider him as a favorite. I don't believe Medvedev's going to win, but we'll see. But more on Zverev. Zverev has made the semis at least the last 2 years at the top of my head. And last year he was coming off of injury, and 2 years ago he had such a horrific injury. I'd say one of the worst injuries I've ever seen in tennis, if not the worst injury. And that year it really sucked because had he won that match against Nadal, I am almost certain he would have beaten Ruud in that championship match. And it just sucks because then he had to go on the road to recovery. And to say that he's already the fourth seed is truly impressive. I mean, there are some players that never recover from injury, and he recovered so well. He's such a great clay court player. He just won in Rome to get back into that top four. I would not count Zverev out. So now let's talk about our women's favorites. We cannot count out Iga Swiatek. I would say that it's a bit of a stretch to say this, but I would consider Swiatek like an early Nadal. That could be a hot take, but in 4 out of the 3 years, in 3 out of the 4 years that she's played at the French Open, she's won 3 times out of 4. And the other time that she didn't play, I believe she made a quarterfinals. She's really good. She's a really good player on clay. Even if she struggles on other surfaces, she's truly amazing on clay. She just won Madrid and Rome back to back against the world number 2 Sabalenka. It's hard. It'll be very difficult. She would either have to have an off day, or the other player, her opponent, would have to have an inspired performance. So I don't want to count Swiatek out. The other 3 favorites that I have are only just because I need other favorites. But Iga is the clear favorite, in my opinion, and a lot of other people's opinions. Arena Sabalenka, last year and over the last few Grand Slams, she has been the most consistent player on the Grand Slam level, like in the last few times. Last year, she lost a very, very close semifinal to Karolina Mukova that really could have gone either way. Sabalenka will definitely look to advance to the championship match, and she has the game to do so. She's got really, really hard hitting forehands, and she's got a really wicked serve. And overall, she's just been consistent. Yeah, she's lost to Iga the last 2 finals, but that gives her even more of a reason to beat Iga on the biggest stage of clay. So, Arena Sabalenka, and she won the Australian Open. I mean, she's gonna want to add another kind of Grand Slam to her repertoire. So Coco Gauff, so she won the U.S. Open in 2023, but I think many people forget that she made her first final 2 years ago at the French Open, where she lost to Iga Swiatek, and that was when, well, she's 20 now, so she was 18 back then. And so that was kind of our first sort of like indication that, okay, she can do it. And then she became a champion. I will say her 2024 hasn't been as good as the end of her 2023 has been. But in all fairness, you can't always have a perfect start. She honestly didn't erupt up to her level now until the end of last season. But she's still a really good player. I will say though, the real disadvantage is that if she ends up having to face Iga in her path, there's almost no chance that she wins. But you never want to say never, you know. Like I said, she's made a final. She can do it. She's got that champion mentality now. She can do it. She can totally win this. As long as she keeps those double faults in check. And the last one is Jelena Rybakina. She's made a quarterfinals here. I'd say the biggest thing for her is to make sure that she doesn't get sick, because she's really good on clay. She won Stuttgart earlier this year. She unfortunately had to withdraw from Rome this year, but she didn't win Rome last year. And to be honest, at last year's French Open, she looked amazing in her first 2 matches, and it was just such a shame that she had to pull out due to illness. And if she can figure out like why she keeps getting sick every once in a while, that will really allow her to level up her game, because she misses so many matches and tournaments because she gets sick a lot. Here's hoping she doesn't get sick during the tournament, because I do really think that she's got the game to really beat the top players. She's got a winning record against Iga Swiatek. I'm not too sure what her record is on clay. But she's got a 4-2 winning record against Iga, which is impressive for sure. Sabalenka would be tough for her to get through, but they have similar games. It's just a matter of, mental prowess at that point and who's hitting the better shots. But I'd say that Rybakina definitely has a chance to win. Okay, so let's go into some dark horses now. So, if you don't know what a dark horse is, basically it's someone that you're not expecting to win at all or make a deep run. So I'd say Taylor Fritz is my first choice for a dark horse. The only reason being is that he's had solid success on clay this season, especially in Madrid, where he made a semifinals before losing to Rublev. I do realize that in Geneva he lost to Alex Michelsen quite early, But that could also be just, maybe he wasn't playing his best game or he wanted to save his energy for the French Open. But when it comes down to the Grand Slams, he surprisingly doesn't have as great of results as you would expect. He's only made 2 quarterfinals. He made one at Wimbledon a couple years ago and at the U.S. Open last year. But that just means he's getting better and better. He has won a Masters 1000 title. He can beat the best players in the world, and most importantly, he's bettering himself on clay. And Taylor Fritz, if I remember correctly from the seedings, should be the 12th seed. So he could be a very tricky 4th round opponent. Depending on which section he's in, he could make the quarters and really, really be a tough test for one of the top guys. So don't count Taylor Fritz out. My second choice for dark horse is Alejandro Tabillo from Chile. He just went on a magical run to the Rome semifinals. And so this guy, he represents Chile, but he trained in Canada, so that's a little fun fact about him. But on the path to the semis, he beat Djokovic. Djokovic was out of sorts. Djokovic got hit by a bottle 2 days prior, so that definitely maybe factored into it. But Tabillo has been rising in the rankings. I mean, I get that he's probably not the biggest name right now. He's probably a solid, really big name for Chile. World number 2 for Chile, and he's only a few rankings behind their top player. But he's a really good player. He's got great experience on clay, like I mentioned, Rome semifinals. And he was the only one to take a set off of the eventual champion, Zverev. He actually almost beat Zverev at Rome. He took that first set 6-1. That second set was a tiebreaker, and then he just sort of lost in the third set. So that sort of just goes to show that if he gets into a sticky, tough match, he may not be able to pull it out. But ultimately, it comes down to experience. I mean, he's a young guy. Yes, it's a bold choice for dark horse. If it doesn't happen this time, it is unfortunate considering he's playing maybe the best tennis of his career. It'll be an experience for him. So we'll see how this prediction goes. And then we got women's dark horses. So the first choice is Danielle Collins. I don't even know if this would count as a dark horse because she announced at the beginning of the season that she wanted to call it quits at the end of the season. Frankly, I have no idea if she's considering on changing her mind. I think she should because she's playing the absolute best tennis of her career right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if she ended her career now with the way that she's been playing with either another Grand Slam Finals appearance, because you may not remember this, but Danielle Collins made it to an Australian Open Finals and lost to Ash Barty. I want to say it was 2020. Was it 21 or 22? I had to fact check that. It was the year that Ash Barty retired, though, so probably 22. But yeah, so Collins has made a Grand Slam final. She sort of drifted off the last couple of years and has now called it quits, but she has entered a resurgence into her career. She won a Masters 1000 title against Rybakina. She's really, really bettered herself, and now on clay, the only person that she's lost to is Sabalenka. So if somehow she doesn't match up with Sabalenka and can make it, she could probably test Iga Swiatek. That's my bold statement. She can do it. She can test her. I don't know if she can beat her, but she can definitely test her. Collins is slated to be the 11th seed. I would not be too surprised if she made a quarters, depending on who she matches up with in the 4th round. Who knows? She could even make a semis. So it just honestly depends on what section of the draw she's in. But yeah, Danielle Collins. I don't know if this counts as a dark horse, but I'm making a prediction that she makes the semifinals or even finals of the French Open. And my second choice for the dark horse is Madison Keys, another American. Yes, I am American, but I'm not trying to be biased here. Madison Keys has also been doing really well in clay. She's a really solid player. I actually believe she's made the semifinals here at the French Open. before, so she has that within her pedigree. She is a former Grand Slam finalist from the 2017 U.S. Open. And more importantly, more relevant, she has made clay court semifinals at a Masters earlier this year. And it was semis in Madrid, quarters in Rome. Guess what? She lost to Swiatek both times in very brutal fashion. But she's made those runs. She is capable of doing well at this tournament. Also, she didn't really learn from her Madrid match and lost by the exact same scoreline in Rome. But, anything could happen in a Grand Slam. Literally anything could happen. So, basically, I appreciate y'all for listening to this one. I'll put out a round 1 recap probably tomorrow. And then as the French Open is going on, I will keep doing recaps. And let's see who wins. Let's see if any of my predictions hold true, or let's see who wins this year's French Open. See ya.